You ready? You're going to love purple. And right now, my listeners will get a free purple pillow with the purchase of a mattress. That's in addition to the great free gifts they're offering site-wide. Just text SAVAGE to 84-888. The only way to get this free pillow is to do this. You ready? Text SAVAGE to 84-888. That's SAVAGE to 84888. Text SAVAGE to 84888. SAVAGE to 84888. Message and data rates may apply.
Now we know that at the very time that the conditions on our streets worsened, Director Nuru is accused of spending his time lining his own pockets. This is infuriating. My constituents and residents across the city deserve government officials that are entirely focused on one thing, effective, transparent decision-making and results that solve problems and improve quality of life.
You know, these guys are so full of crap. This is a San Francisco supervisor making believe he's shocked by the dirt and filth in the streets, and all of a sudden shocked by the corruption, and he's going to clean it all up. They're running scared, all of them. They're all running scared. So they say it's Director Nuru and restaurant owner Bovis who are in the vice right now, but they're scared that it's going to come back on them somehow. Now, this guy Nuru was the head of the Department of Public Works. The budget was $500 million a year. That's not small change. $500 million a year budget. So what was this all about? According to the complaint, Nuru used his official position to benefit a billionaire in China who was developing a large multi-million-dollar mixed-use project in San Francisco in exchange for travel and lodging, high-end liquor, and other gifts and benefits. You know, when we say some politicians are like no better than hookers, you kind of get the picture here. A bottle of liquor and a free trip. This is what they sell their lives for? If this is true, it's disgusting. Nuru attempting to use his position as the chair of TJPA to secure a desirable lease for Bovis in the Transbay Transit Center in exchange for benefits provided by Bovis. Nuru providing Bovis with inside information on city projects regarding portable bathroom trailers and small container-like housing units for use by the homeless. You hear this? So that Bovis could win contracts for those projects. Do you understand why I've been screaming about corruption in this city for 10 years? Why I've been screaming about the homeless crisis, which is created by these corrupt politicians in order to steer money to the homeless issue and then cash in on it themselves? Nuru obtaining free and discounted labor and construction equipment from contractors, says the complaint, to help him build a personal vacation home in Colusa County, California, while those contractors were also engaging in business with the city. You say, well, this is standard operating procedure. Well, it shouldn't be if it is. And if it's going on in other cities, it shouldn't. But notice which city just got hit with this federal complaint. San Francisco. Why this city? Was this the biggest sign of corruption in the country? Maybe. But it's also the place where Feinstein and Pelosi reside. It's the place where Governor Newsom resides. It's the place where there is no newspaper. It's the place where there is no Republican Party. It's the place where they took Pelham 1, 2, 3. They're so successful in their corruption that nobody could touch them, so they thought.
Michael Savage, a host like no other.
There was no shock and horror at the idea that this kind of old school bribery and corruption was occurring with someone at the center of that scheme who is no newcomer to city politics, right? So I don't think anyone can read this complaint and not think there is far more there than what has come to light, and that we cannot trust the branch of government in which this is happening to investigate itself.
So here are the city supervisors, all far-left lunatics. All of a sudden, they're making believe they're shocked by the corruption in San Francisco, and they're going to do something about it. My friends, the only reason this is happening is because Donald Trump is president. The only reason Pelosi and Feinstein are trying to remove Donald Trump is because he unleashed this firestorm on them. Now, it's not on them, as you well know. It's not on Pelosi and Feinstein. They're not named. It's Nuru and Beavis, or Bovis, or I don't know, Bovis, pardon me. Nuru and Bovis, Bovis. Nuru and Bovis. Mohammed, Nuru, and Nick Bovis. Not Feinstein. Nothing to do with any of the politicians. Nothing at all. But I think that you could reasonably assume that if there's a corruption case on this level in San Francisco, let us say the higher-ups would have had to know about it, or they would have stopped it. Right or wrong? Well, why? We can't allege it, and we can't surmise it. It wouldn't be fair. I'm not Media Matters. Media Matters accused me of something I didn't do, and it was picked up by the vermin in the media as though it was a fact. The same way they're smearing others in the conservative media, the same way they smear the president. I've been facing these vermin for 25 years, funded by George Soros. Now, let's get back to this again. Alleged crimes committed, because this is a big case. San Francisco Director of Public Works and restaurateur charged with public corruption. Why does it matter to you? Well, maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. But remember, and this is the most important thing, many of you have lost the connection here. This case was not brought by the communist district attorney, the son of terrorists. This case was brought by Donald Trump's U.S. attorney. It is a federal case. The communist DA will not be able to touch this one way or the other. Do you understand that? This is going to be a federal trial. And if you've watched enough movies, you know how these things work. The prosecutors throw everything at the accused, then they squeeze them, they try to get them to flip to a higher fish, and then they do a plea deal with them. And we'll see what happens, right? So what is this about? What is the scheme, actually? You know, most of it's so petty, it's actually frightening when you look at it, what these people will go down for, how really low-life city officials are. Now, they got these on tape. Apparently, they have a confidential informant. Boy, I'd love to know who that was. As Bovis explained to a confidential source during a recorded call, that's by the FBI, in order to win the bid, Nuru had instructed Bovis to provide $5,000 to Nuru for Airport Commissioner 1. You hear what they'll go down for? As well as a free trip for Airport Commissioner 1 to the city where the confidential source's company, referred to below as Company X, is based. So they get a free airplane ticket. Can you believe this? More specifically, during the recorded call on March 21, 2018, Bovis said, so, quote, he, Nuru, told me, he goes, just give me, between me and you, I didn't want to say it in front of the other people. He said, if you give me like $5,000 cash for her and send her off to the city where Company X is based to meet you guys, and I'll get it taken care of, close quote. And I said, okay. Bovis then told the confidential source, so I'll take care of that and get her out there to you, close quote. The FBI agent who wrote this complaint says, I believe this conversation shows Nuru directing Bovis in private to provide a $5,000 bribe and arrange for a free trip for Airport Commissioner 1 in exchange for help winning the airport lease. Now, it gets more interesting. On April 4th, 2018, Bovis met with an undercover employee, UCE. The FBI put an undercover employee and two confidential sources at his Burlingame restaurant, just prior to their dinner meeting with Nuru and Airport Commissioner 1. This is like right out of a cheap gangster movie. This is like something set in like a restaurant in Cleveland, on the outskirts of Cleveland, where some greasy guy is getting a $5,000 envelope. After being asked about the $5,000, Bovis responded, quote, Muhammad is real private and blah, blah, blah. You can read it yourself. I could read it for you, but you can read on your own. It's on michaelsavage.com. I got the complaint linked up for you. But let's speed along here to the corruption involved with the homeless bums. Why do you think there are so many homeless bums in your city? Why? Because of the billions of dollars that are flowing uphill, not downhill. These poor people in the streets need help, and they get federal, state, local, charitable money to help them, and it's all stolen by the corrupt politicians. Bathroom trailer scheme and homeless container shelter scheme. Are you ready for this? As director of the Department of Public Works, Mohammed Nuru also has influence on or control over DPW's contracts to purchase portable bathroom trailers. The bathroom trailers are being placed, or are intended to be placed, in various San Francisco locations to alleviate unsanitary conditions caused by the city's ongoing homelessness problem. Nuru also has control or influence over a project for the city to purchase tiny container-type portable housing for use by the homeless. Nuru has assisted Bovis with his bids for these projects by, among other things, providing Bovis with inside information regarding both projects. For his part, Bovis indicated to his business partners that the competitive bidding process for one of the projects was, quote, just a formality, unquote. Now, again, I have to reiterate for legal reasons that both Nuru and Bovis are innocent until proven guilty. I am reading you this very, very serious FBI U.S. Attorney complaint. Then there's a Nuru vacation home scandal. That's a small fry thing. This guy owns a vacation home near the Mendocino National Forest on Lodoga, Stonyford Road in Stonyford. And the home has been extensively remodeled by contractors, largely from San Francisco. This home is 3.5 hours from San Francisco to Stonyford. And yet, they have San Francisco contractors coming out from San Francisco. The contractors in San Francisco have more work than they can handle in the immediate Bay Area. They could get any amount of work they want. So why would Nuru has contractors from San Francisco driving 3.5 hours one way to work on his vacation home? Oh, why? According to the complaint. Well, read the complaint yourself. You could figure it out. Okay, you could figure it out for yourself. I mean, they say, okay, I never heard of it. Now, let's go to the airport for a minute. We know the bums, the homeless people, are being used by these corrupt city officials. They always have been. That's why the problem festers, because they're cashing in on it, because most of us can't stand stepping over the feces. Now we have the airport. Have you bought a bottle of water at an airport recently? How much is a bottle of water? $8? How much is a beer at an airport bar? A rotten, stinking tap beer. $8? $10? Why do we pay those prices? Because it's a monopoly. And how much do you think restaurant owners pay city officials to get the contract to open a restaurant or a bar at an airport? I don't know, but in this case, you'll find out. You'll find out that they didn't have to pay that much. They had to smear a little bit, not a lot. Bovis prepares another video with the same. You can read it. It's very interesting stuff. It reads like a little bit of a novel. Now they have people who've been wiretapped. They've had them on wires. At the restaurant, Bovis and CHS, blah, that's confidential informant, discussed the Terminal 1 RFP, and particular lease number 5. Did you ever try to get a lease at a at an airport? Let's say you're an honest restaurant owner or an honest bar owner. Did you ever try to submit a bid for a contract to an airport? You know you wouldn't get it because you're not corrupt. You have to go on the inside. You have to pay off one of these bums, these corrupt politicians somewhere in America. On February 8th, 2018, at approximately 9:35 a.m., confidential informant made another recorded call to Bovis. Bovis said the previous night he met with Airport Commissioner 1. Oh, I can't wait to see who that is. And she said she wanted to go with him personally and thinks she is going to talk about what she would do about what she would take to do it, unquote. What she would take. You listening to this? Now, you ever ask why people want to become airport commissioners, bus commissioners? You say, look, I'm originally from New York City. You say, what does that make you? My father told me everything. I kind of knew everything by the time I was 5. And when he would see a congressman going by or an assemblyman, in those days they had big bronze plaques on the back of their cars over the license plate that, it was like the Politburo. If you saw a car that said congressman or commissioner, you steered clear of it. You knew these people were juiced up, and you knew not to mess with them. I mean, I knew it as a boy. And why? I said, Dad, why would anyone want that job? Why don't they become a regular businessman? And he would say with a smile, Michael, because they get a lot of money under the table for doing favors for people. Oh, Dad, I didn't quite understand, what it meant. She says, so then what's the big deal? In that same call, Bovis stated he met with a famous lawyer who handles all this stuff. I wonder who the famous lawyer is. Bovis said Nuru, his friend at the head of DPW, arranged a meeting with Airport Commissioner 1. Blah, blah, blah. He would ask Airport if they needed to get the lawyer involved since he knows the rest of the committee. Blah, blah, blah. So there's the schmear job here. Povis.